Just like Thursday, the boat in trouble. This time, Nomura was able to wriggle off the hook with 1:30 to go, and now they hold a favored position.
We're not going to have it. They call to each other.
Game here is to get up to full speed. Kayard makes his move first, and he'll be going faster when the gun goes off.
Go down below the line. 20. 17. 14. 13. 4, 3, 2, 1, shot!
Another clean start and another good job by Dellenbaugh.
Another clean start, another good move by Dellenbaugh. The funny thing, when I watch that time after time after time, I see what they're doing. When the dial-up happens, that's when the boat on starboard, both boats were on starboard with about 35 seconds to go. The boat to leeward, America Cubed, had right away because they're a leeward boat. So they can go up, head to wind. That's called a dial-up. So they dial up Kayard. And in this case, Dave Dellenbaugh, who's the tactician, and actually he's tactician and driving the start, dials up Kayard. He knows the pin is favored. So his move is going to be to bear off, go below the line, because you need to be on the not on the course side when you start. So he goes below the line and heads for the pin. And in the commentary at that, the guys, well, Kayard makes his move first, so he's going to be going faster. And if you follow the start, he might be going faster, but he's late to the line and he's headed for the not favored end. And later on in the first cross, America Cube crosses him by a boat length and a half. It was like, yeah, another good move by Dave Dellenbaugh. It's pretty hysterically funny. Anyway, good evening. Welcome to Casco Bay. Here again after, golly, it feels like it's been quite a long time. A lot of stuff going on. Been there, got the t-shirt, the 2023 Etchells New England Championships. We did pretty good. We had a good time. That was an interesting trip. Big breeze, different conditions than we're used to sailing in. Marblehead is a sheltered harbor that opens onto Massachusetts Bay, which is pretty open to the Atlantic Ocean. So there's always big waves, or relatively more seas than we're used to seeing up here in Maine, where the bays are really sheltered. We're light-ish air, smooth water area. So the kind of sailing that you do is a little bit different. The way to make the boat go fast is a little bit different. So we're a little bit challenged in sailing and learning how to get the boat tuned and sailing in those conditions. So on Friday it was light, moderate lump. On Saturday, the lump was bigger. It looked like it was blowing harder, but it was still light. And then on Sunday, it was blowing steady 24 with gusts over 30, and it was fun. We got a range of conditions and learned a lot. Finished 7th in the regatta out of 22. We had a good time and learned a lot about the boat. We felt pretty good about it. We were the fleet was divided into the so-called Corinthians. In other words, no pros on the boat. And pros in sailing is pretty amorphously defined. Like you can spend all your time sailing, But if it's not what you do for a living, then, if you don't get paid to do it at all, then you're an amateur. And some of those so-called amateurs spend a lot of time sailing. But we were like towards the bottom of the pro fleet, and the top of the pro fleet were like world champions. We didn't feel bad coming in 7th in that 22 boat fleet. We felt pretty good. Anyway, so there was that. That was a couple of weeks ago. Got back to the loft, reconciled myself to the fact that racing season's over up here. We'll have to wait and see what happens in future. Sit behind the sewing machine, feeling bad for myself and so forth. Oh no, no more sailboat racing for a while. And so got going on that stuff. Got going on fixing boat covers and trying to keep the wolves from the door, which I'm doing okay at. I could use some help though. As far as keeping wolves from the door, I'm old and feeble. So like, subscribe, join my Patreon, all that stuff. Help me out here. Trying to keep you folk entertained. And then catching up a little bit on the madness in the community and in the wide world, which doesn't seem to change much. Watching the Trump debacle and American politics. Did a stream today on Skeptic Haven with talking about the trials of Donald J. Trump, which was fun. I encourage you to catch that if you missed it. We talk about with Hein and I forget the guy from India and another American, and we talked about comparative politics and comparative governmental systems and all of that sort of thing. And it was fun. It was a fun discussion. I got to get got to put my history degree to work in talking about politics and the state of affairs. It's pretty interesting. So there's that. And the thing that's really caught my interest of late, and I don't know if you folks have been following the Ballad of Tim Ballard, who attained a sort of fame and fortune how to put it, through a I guess the best way to put it is through a scam that he called Operation Underground Railroad. It's in the news and stuff. One of the officials of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints happens to share his last name, but as far as anyone can tell, he's not related. But he did seem to play on that. But what the guy's operation was ostensibly rescuing children from trafficking. Yes, Daedalus Media, exactly right. Thank you, Pack. And what Ballard's up to was building himself a name. And and using God and country and justice and all of that to build that name. There was a film released called The Sound of Freedom. It was released last summer, and it apparently was very successful in the motion pictures. Was a big hit. Pumped this thing up, and so Tim Ballard's sitting there flying high, all to the point where when Romney announced that he wasn't going to run for Senate again in Utah, everyone expected Tim Ballard to be the Republican nominee. In fact, the Attorney General of the state of Utah said, "Oh, I'm not going to run. I'm going to just sort of sit back and let Tim do it, because after all, he's a genuine American hero." He's a genuine American hero in a very Trumpian way. The way he structured this whole thing was that he would go on operations, and part of the operation involved what he called I don't know. It was basically, it was the what's the name? I don't know, operator ruse or something like that. What he would basically do is he would go in and pretend to be a sex trafficker, and he would bring along with him and train up women who would pretend to be his girlfriend, and he tricked a whole bunch of women into playing this role. And in that role, what was involved was really getting into the part. Like, honey, you're going to have to, we're going to have to sleep together, or, just to sleep in the same bed. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. But it's all for the children. And he got a lot of people fooled. Built an organization called Operation Underground Railroad. When they caught onto the whole thing, they basically said, "Whoa, this is no good." Fired his ass. But he, probably the saddest thing I've read in this whole saga was a filing that a couple of days ago, I think it was, or sometime during the past week, a married couple, neither one of them members of the LDS Church, but the woman was sucked in by this altruistic front of Tim Ballard, and landed a job as a secretarial job, and with Operation Underground Railroad, and she caught Tim Ballard's eye, and he started grooming her. And so they filed this lawsuit that is pages and pages long. But at the end of the lawsuit, both the woman and her husband added statements, and the statements are like hard to read. So, trigger warning, content warning. I'm going to read some of the stuff from those statements. And some of it's pretty unsettling. So off we go. Let's see. I've got a share screen and second Ballard lawsuit. Okay. So yeah. So AA is FT's husband. Even the initials are not the same initials. And I apologize for all the ads. I tried to come up with an actual PDF from the court, but this is from a Utah. This is on a Utah television station's website. So apologize for all the ads and whatnot. But FT is the husband, AA is the wife. And it starts out, surviving Tim Ballard. I've been dreading the thought of writing this down and having to relive what has been the absolute worst year or so of my life. The last few months in particular have been an absolute nightmare as things started spiraling, and I felt helpless and desperate to save my wife and my family from the grasp of Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard. Tim has taken everything from me. He's purposely destroyed my marriage, manipulated my wife, ruined the relationship with my kids and with my wife's family. He's gone as far as harassing me at my place of employment, thus affecting my ability to, I'm trying to do my job and earn a living. His narcissism, ego, sexual deviancy, and actions have caused irreparable damage in my life. He's taken my dignity, my home, my self-esteem, and pride. He's used the most noble of causes to manipulate vulnerable and well-meaning women, including my wife, to do unspeakable things and brainwash them into submission. I think he is a truly evil and dangerous man with a messiah complex who used the name of God and the guise of saving children to fulfill his own narcissistic desires, deceiving many people along the way, stealing the value of actual victims and exploiting their pain for personal gain. I believe all his actions are very deliberate, calculated, and cunning. So, other than that, how do you feel about this guy? So I think reading the context makes sense for those of you who haven't heard of this Operation Underground Railroad. I feel in order to tell this story, I need to provide some context on my wife. I'm going to say my wife in place of AA, just so that it reads a little bit better. Our marriage, as well as myself. Prior to our introduction to Operation Underground Railroad, my wife and I had a very good marriage. We've been married for 10 years and together for 12. Like any marriage, it was not perfect, but it was filled with love, affection, care, trust, and devotion to each other. I've heard numerous people refer to us as a power couple or mention relationship goals when referring to us. Take that for what you will. I believe we both deeply cared about each other and most importantly, trusted each other. I've never in my life trusted anyone more than my wife. Because of my trust for her, I never got jealous, often to her playful annoyance. My wife was always the light in every room. She has had a very bubbly personality, an incredibly infectious laugh, and made everyone feel special and loved. She was selfless to a fault. She is a truly amazing person. She also had a passion for kids. She was unable to even get through a movie where kids might be harmed. My wife worked from home as running a fairly successful home-based business. I work in, which allowed us to have our evenings, weekends, and holidays together. Our free time was usually spent with the kids, with my wife's family, being active, or just bumming around the house. We were always very affectionate with a healthy sex life. We've both been married before, so I think we had a healthy respect for this. being our second marriage and wanting to do it right. Since my wife's previous husband traveled a lot for work, which eventually led to infidelity on his part, from my understanding, it was important for my wife to have a stable and boring life. She said she wanted someone to be at home at nights. Someone who she could trust, someone who wasn't always on the go, and someone she felt safe with. I took that to heart and tried to provide that lifestyle to the best of my ability. I also want to point out that the kids are not biologically mine, but from very early on, they became my kids. I wanted to be the father I never had. And I wanted AA, my wife, to feel loved every day, possibly to a fault at times. The irony of this is that the very things my wife hated about our previous marriage is what Tim manipulated her into becoming. Well, let's get into the manipulation bit. Sometime in the summer of 2021, my wife was introduced to Operation Underground Railroad, OUR. Her passion immediately took over, and she decided to sponsor a fundraiser for them. She worked tirelessly over the course of a few months to make that happen. Once my wife gets passionate about something, she becomes obsessed with it. I helped her as much as I could, helping leverage some relationships to get donations, setting up websites, running some of the finances, etc. The fundraiser took place in August of 2021, was very successful. She had a great turnout and raised close to $25,000. Looking back in hindsight, it's quite sad to know that $25,000 probably didn't even cover one of Tim's operations, considering the 5-star hotels, first-class tickets, and alcohol bills I would later come to see. Pause just a sec. So here's this guy leveraging his links to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, leveraging the notion of saving children from from trafficking. And how's he doing it? With first-class flights, 5-star hotels, building up his lifestyle. Yeah. And drinking a lot, apparently. After the success of her fundraiser, my wife was offered a job at Operation Underground Railroad, working in community outreach. I expect you raised $25,000 for a non-profit. You're suddenly desirable material. She was in charge of volunteers for several states. It seemed like an entry-level position, but again, my wife gave it all she had. She attended and supported every event she could, even covering for her counterparts who seemed not to take the job as seriously. Again, I tried to help as when possible, volunteering at multiple events, running booths, selling merchandise, etc., all for the good of the cause she so believed in. Every dollar raised was going to help save a child, in her mind. My wife applied for and got the job of redacted, special assistant, probably some title like that, to, who knows, the CFO, COO at the time for OUR. She didn't have much experience in the field, but she had a go-getter attitude and was willing to learn. Many evenings were spent with me helping her make spreadsheets, word certain emails, etc. Her boss treated my wife well, and I was always ensuring she made work-life balance a priority. Family reunion meeting Tim Ballard, meeting Janet Russin. Janet Russin is I think Janet is a psychic that Tim Ballard relied on extensively. Summer 2021, I believe July, perhaps August. The event was put on as a company get-together. My wife and so-and-so helped organize the event. This was the first time I physically met Tim and Janet. Family was invited to the second portion of the event, which was held at Fat Cats in Saratoga Springs. There was a bowling session where families could mingle, followed by a screening of a couple of movie choices. I believe that this is the first time I watched The Sound of Freedom, since that was available as one of the options. I thought the movie was well done, but it seemed a little far-fetched, and it seemed like it probably took too many liberties with the story. In other words, making Tim Ballard out to be a fucking hero. After the movie, I met Tim in the lobby. I was walking out with my wife, and Tim was standing there with some person. And Matt Osborne, I believe, who I think is an LDS guy, but I don't know for that. I'm not familiar enough with the LDS and don't know all that crap. I cannot remember exactly how it happened, but I believe so-and-so stopped us and introduced my wife to Tim, at which point I also introduced myself to him. What I vividly remember is how Tim sized me up at that moment and made some comment about my build. I remember because it seemed awkward and he stared at me for a little too long. In fact, Brad made the joke to stop staring and that he was being creepy. We all laughed, but as I walked away, I told my wife, that was weird. And she said, yes, yeah. After the Fat Cat session, everyone met up at a lodge in Mill Creek's Canyon for dinner. My wife was running around making sure the food was properly handled, tables were set, etc. I helped her with whatever I could, including setup and takedown. Tim gave a speech at the event, and it seemed very odd. It was very passionate and awkward at the same time. It seemed like some executive was just recently fired by the organization, and Tim seemed more concerned about berating that previous executive than anybody else. Remind you of anybody like Trump, Trumpty-Dump? It seemed very cultish and a tone of you're either with us or against us and don't question the company type thing. I thought it was particularly odd to do this on stage in front of other employees, given that it seemed like an HR issue of sorts. During the mingling period, I also met Janet Russin for the first and only time in person. What stood out to me, especially in hindsight, is what Janet said to my wife. After some brief conversation, she looked at my wife up and down and said, I have a feeling I'll be working with you a lot in the future. I chalked it up to just being kind of weird, and I did not think much of it at the time. Now looking back, I get the chills about that moment. So as you can see, this guy is framing a thing. Sometime in October 2021, it's just October 2021, evil enters our world. Sometime in October 2021, my wife tells me that she was working late at the Operation Underground Railroad building in her boss's office, and Tim walked in unexpectedly. Tim tells her that he had some sort of supposed revelation, and that he saw her face and didn't even really know who she was, but he knew that she needed to be the next female operator on the upcoming mission. He tells her that he cannot believe she's here at this hour when he just happened to drop by, and it has to be a sign from God. My wife asked me what my thoughts are about her going on a mission. And my initial reaction was, hell no! I remember being somewhat disappointed and trying to convince me of all the reasons that would be good. After some conversation, I felt like I couldn't deny her the opportunity to experience this, especially given her passion. I asked a multitude of questions and had many reservations about her going. I was especially concerned about her safety. I wanted to know details of her security team, how they operate, how is she insured on these trips, what her role would be, why her, out of all people, since she has no training in any sort of undercover work, no law enforcement background, and so forth. It was a huge red flag for me, but I also wanted to support my wife and not have her resent me for denying her this opportunity. I was given some assurances of safety and some vague answers, which were less than satisfactory and largely due to the fact that my wife was also not really given any straight answers. I very reluctantly agreed to the mission. After all, this was a good cause, such a good cause, and they were trying to save kids. My only ask was that she check in with me as often as possible so that I knew she was safe. My wife went on her first practice mission to California to practice. This is the other thing that Ballard did. So, oh, well, we can't just jump into it. You need to practice. You need to, you need to do all of this stuff. You need to get good at this. I remember being somewhat frustrated with a lack of communication while she was gone. When she got back, she was excited that she did really well on the mission and that Tim told her she was a natural. She was so excited that she was finally going to be able to make a difference. Tim, of course, filled her head with visions of grandeur in regard to the impact she can have and how many kids she would be able to save. So she skirts around that issue. Why was there so much of a lack of communication? We agreed how much important that was, and she skirted around the issue of saying she was extremely busy on the op, that things move fast. You really couldn't have her phone around. And this is Ballard basically saying, never mind the phone, don't call your husband. We're busy. You need to get good at this. At this point, I feel like I should jump up to her tale about what exactly she was doing. Let's see, we were talking about that first mission. See. Yeah, this is what happened. This is what happened in California. That she got back to following day. This is her narrative. Following day, Tim Ballard called me and asked if I could fly to San Clemente, California for an ops training. It was the same time that the board meeting was happening. I told him yes. He told me repeatedly that all this needed to be a secret, and it was essential that ops was on the down low. I didn't find that weird, as no one at Operation Underground Railroad talked about operations. It was all very secretive. When I got to California, Dimitri picked me up. Good old Dimitri. And I got some lunch, and he checked me into the hotel I was staying in. And I remember Dimitri asked, "So why did Tim fly you out here?" I told him honestly, I didn't know how to answer that. Tim told me not to tell anyone or anything, so a few things were going through my mind already. Is this a test? Am I in trouble for flying to California since I'm still confused about what Tim was asking me to do? Why is Dmitri asking me? Shouldn't he know? Looking back, I can tell now that Dmitri's response was clear, that he was clear that he was annoyed that I was there. He was annoyed that Tim was up to something. Tim called me when Dmitri and I were getting lunch. There was music in the background and Tim got mad. Where are you? Why are you not at your hotel? I told him we were finishing lunch and then I checked into my hotel. At this time, it was about 2 p.m. Tim told me he would come by my hotel soon. I still didn't ask questions and I just said, okay. It was approximately 6 p.m. when Tim got to my hotel room. I remember feeling very uncomfortable at the hotel room, alone there with another man, afraid and shy to say anything. I also thought, this is Tim Ballard. I should feel differently. He was explaining roles and operations. I go by Brian Black when I'm in the role, and I will be Brian Black. He started to explain what the couples ruse is. And this is the crux of the biscuit, my friends. The couples ruse. 2 operators can block each other in strip clubs or massage parlors. It will cover any suspicion of the operators being the good guys. He gave an example where if in a strip club, the stripper wants to sit on his lap, his girlfriend can block that from happening by sitting on his lap. Another example was, while getting information in massage spas, while getting couples massages, trying to get that information, if the traffickers are trying to do anything to either one of the operators, the safe word is fuck me, and that is the clue to get your partner help in being sexually harassed by saying, get out, we want to be alone now. Quote, traffickers can smell pheromones, so we must have real chemistry during the couples ruse, or the traffickers will call us out. Tim said that he had rules, that there's no kissing or touching private parts if he ever does a couples ruse with anyone. I remember saying, is HR going to pop out of the closet during this whole conversation? Because he didn't say any of this to me before I got to California, and I couldn't believe I was hearing what I was hearing. The role he asked me to play still needed to be clarified. I was led to believe I was helping with a case in London, but not in the context of a couple's rules in that way. That differs from how it was explained to me in Utah and at the office. Essentially, Tim wanted me to befriend a girl they were trying to save in London that they had already found and believed she was trafficked out of North Korea. Tim continued to talk about chakras and tantric massages. It was all very confusing, but I just wanted to help wherever I could. When he left, he hugged me and lifted my skirt to look at my stomach. Just kissing. He said he had no idea I had such a hot body because I was always so covered at the office. My back was facing the bed and it was easy to fall back on it. He pulled me in tighter and kissed my neck. He said that kissing my neck up and down would avoid kissing lips. He had me lie on my back on the bed to show me how to fake fuck while both our clothes were on. One of the positions he showed me, he wrapped one of my legs over his neck and began to thrust, explaining it. I just don't even want to go. You get the picture, folks. This guy was enlisting women, including married women. Just like I read from her husband's testimony. All this is going on. Suffice it to say, she got roped into this whole thing with the whole notion of saving the children and this, that, and the other thing. And it's just, I just find, I'm get this bullshit out of here. I'm not going to go any further with this. I mean, you get the picture. If you haven't heard about this, telling you, I just wanted to bring it to the attention of people out here, people who watch my channel, because this is a big deal. This guy literally was in line to run for Senator Romney's seat. Literally. I mean, he had legit politicians stepping aside because of the sensation that Operation Underground Railroad had caused, and the Sound of Freedom, the movie had made. This is the state of our politics. These hucksters, these shysters, these abusers are the heroes. Can we do better than this? Check into the Tim Ballard thing. Tim Ballard was so bad that even the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints saying, we had this hinky guy that started the whole thing by the name of Joseph Smith. And he was a polygamist, and then we have this other guy by the name of Brigham Young, and he was a little bit sketchy. Like, by a little bit sketchy, I mean he had, in the 60s or so, wives. And in the Doctrine and Covenants, we have a passage that basically, that's still there, that talks about plural marriage and eternal this, that, and the other thing. So that's the heritage that Tim Ballard comes out of. It was not the heritage that this couple came out of. They weren't LDS. But what did they have that that Tim Ballard preyed on? Saving the kids from trafficking. And she got lured into a guy who was trafficking religious claptrap to get money and sex and power. And it almost worked. On a far larger scale. So, that was a serious thing I wanted to bring to people's attention. It's out there. It's a big story in the Mormon community. Radio Free Mormon is a Mormon deconstruction channel. Mormon Stories podcast has a lot on it. But it's that intersection of religion and politics. It's really scary to me because you see it in not just stuff like this, but Utah's ground zero for anti-LGBTQ issues. A lot of these states, Idaho, same. Mormons are really big in Idaho. Of course, the Mormon Church was instrumental in Proposition 8 in California back in the day. They backed off that tip. But here's these so-called, these ostensible paragons of morality doing this shit. You know, I get a little bit concerned when people just basically go, yeah, well, you know, that happens. I see, y'all are getting played. Y'all are getting played. At least this guy's scam didn't go on as long as Donald Trump's, and we still don't know the denouement of where Trump winds up. It's not looking good for him right at the moment, my humble opinion. But it's almost like, I don't know where Trump winds up, but even worse is, I don't know where his followers wind up. I don't know how much more they can take. And where they go once they're finally disappointed. Once the shine is off that guy's story. I mean, there are some that will be with him till the very end. But it won't be Release the Kraken lady, and it probably won't be Pillow Guy, and it probably won't be a whole bunch of people that are beginning to wise up that this guy is not on my side, and I gotta save my ass. Which is why the Georgia case, the Georgia Trump, the conspiracy case in Georgia is probably likely to bear the most fruit quickest. Because those people are flipping. They're not just flipping, they're pleading. They're saying, yep, I did it. This is a conspiracy case. What did you do? I participated in a conspiracy. Who was involved? All these people. That's, you know, it's kind of big. Oh, Don John, I mean, he's at the center of it. Got to be an awful lot of thinking going on. I just wonder, you know, people say, well, you know, if Trump's convicted, will they send him to jail? I don't know. Federal penal facility, Mar-a-Lago. Sounds good to me. It turned Robert E. Lee's house into a cemetery. Why not? Anyway, there's a link to join if anybody wants to come in and chit chat, talk about this, that, the other thing. Inspire good feeling for the weekend. Hell, I don't know. Talk about apologetics. It's not exactly my big strong point. Politics, sailing, this, that, the other thing. Room's open. Links at the top. Yeah, Chester, that's true. They did pay the Lee's. They did compensate the Lee's family at the end. But I thought it was a nice touch, you know. Hey, guess what? Let's see what other shit's going on. Oh, yeah. On a completely different topic. I don't think I've covered this yet in this stream. So we get back. And like Tuesday of this week, I got a call from a friend of mine who's done a bunch of sailing, but is by no means any sort of expert. And, really, it's mostly sailed small boats. But she's lived aboard. She's been a liveaboard up here in Portland for a long time. Lived on about a 35-foot powerboat, or a 30-foot powerboat. Is it even 30? It might not even be 30. So she's had that experience, and it's kind of, her living situation is kind of sketchy, and she the powerboat, which we like to call a red boat, I don't remember. I think the name of the boat is Hawk or something like that. I can't remember. Falcon, Hawk, some kind of freaking thing. Anyway, she found a place to dock the thing for the winter, and she's sort of thinking, well, I can live on that. But anyway, this Tuesday, she calls me up and says, hey, this guy wants to give me a CNC 41. Okay. CNC 41 is this 41-foot sailboat. That's a large sailboat. I mean, it's a large sailboat. Let me see if I can find the large sailboat tab. Come on, where are you? Oh, yeah. Here somewhere. Yeah. Ah, there it is. This is Wikipedia's page on it. All right. Let's just look at the data over here. It is length overall 40 feet 9 inches, 12.42 meters. It's long. Length on the water line, that's like shit ton in the water. It's 33 feet 4 inches. Beam, almost 13 feet. Yeah, it's commodious. Ballast 8,000 pounds. Rig. Four triangle height. 56 feet. That means that's height of the this happens to be masthead rig, so it's essentially the height of the mast over the shear line of the boat, which is a straight line from the bow to the stern. That's not the height above the water. I think, how much freeboard does that thing have? It's probably another. So above the water, that thing's got to be like 63, 64 feet. Top of the mast, it's got to be 65 feet above the water anyway, I'm guessing. Oh, yeah. So 350 square foot mainsail. The area of the fore triangle is 462 square feet. It's a lot of sail. So there's that. That's just that's the boat. It draws almost 8 feet, 7 feet 11 inches. So you got to 4 tons of ballast. Exactly. So anyway, it's a lot of boat. It's got all the amenity. It's wonderful. It's got hot and cold running water. It's got it's got a shower there. It's got a shower down below. It's got heat. It's got the heat that's powered by the diesel. It's got a heater. It makes hot water. It's got refrigeration. It's got all this stuff. I mean, it's It's a much nicer living situation anyway. But for those of you who are not aware of it, a boat is, especially a boat of that size, is a hole in the water you throw money into. A new mainsail for that boat would cost you around $8,700. A new jib would cost you around, I'm gonna say $7,000 anyway. It's like a new, for 100% jib, for a jib that fills a 4 triangle. So right there, anything that, fortunately for Sarah, we did put the mainsail up, and this mainsail's good. It's not the right size, but it's good. It's fine. It's a little big, which is better than it being a little small. But anyway, so she's going, what should I do? I said, I don't know. What's wrong with it? What's the catch? And it's like, to me, that's the catch. The catch is the carrying cost. It's like, is what's broken? Is there anything broken? Do you know what's broken? Why is the guy giving it away? It's basically, I think he just got sick of owning a boat. He's one of these one of the types that said, oh, I've got a lot of money, I ought to have a sailboat. And they go and buy a sailboat and discover that they really don't give a fuck about sailing. It just looks cool. They're not necessarily my favorite people. Although, to the extent that they are interested in learning about stuff, they can be pretty cool people. It's like, I got a lot of money and I know what I don't know. Will you please help me? That's cool. I got a lot of money, I don't know what I don't know, and I don't care to learn. Nah, not so much fun. That's just me. So that happened, and so I said, look, Sarah, I don't know. Whatever you decide to do, I'll help. And she goes, well, I have to make a decision. I have to tell the guy, I have to take the boat away from where it is Thursday. In other words, 2 days ago. So she did a bunch of running around and found a slip in the same marina where she already had secured a slip for the winter for the red boat. He called me up on Wednesday and told him I'll do it. But, well, okay, I guess that means we're taking a boat from Falmouth to Portland tomorrow. So that's what I did on Thursday. Helped my friend Sarah take a CNC 41 10 miles from, well, not quite 10 miles, more like 7 miles from the Falmouth anchorage to a slip in Portland. And not a single person on the boat knew anything about boats. We had like 5 people on the boat, and Sarah knew some stuff, but not boat like that. So it was basically me. And I'll do anything to help out. Just tell me what to do. It's like, so I'm trying to say, we need a little bit more main halyard. Nobody knows. Of course, I might as well be speaking Greek. All right. And, the winches have self-tailers, like you can see behind me over here. See that little groove at the top of the winch? That's, by the way, in case you don't know, that's a winch. And the rope goes around the winch, and you can put the rope in that groove at the top. And so rather than having to hang onto the rope, if you take a bunch of wraps around the thing, it will grip onto the rope, and as you turn the winch, it will tighten the rope. Well, of course, that was a very complex thing to explain. So it's one of those we'll put the sails up and see how it goes. And it's like, so I'm driving the thing, and anytime something had to happen, it was like, all right, Sarah, drive. Fortunately, the boat has a wheel, so if it were a tiller, it would have been all kinds of mayhem. So I'm driving the boat and running around the boat and checking things out. And it's like, my whole mission was, what's going to break first? And it's like, I knew something was going to break. Well, the first thing that broke was a running backstay thing. And that was just a shackle letting go. So this shackle sitting right there. It's like, okay. So this guy didn't tighten up shackles. The next thing that lets go is the end fitting for the traveler car. I know I'm talking Greek. And it let go. Why? Because it didn't have a cotter pin in it to hold the pin that secures the piece in there. So it's this boat is you're gonna need to have eyes go around to every single little piece of equipment and make sure that it's more than likely gonna work. Because when I got on the thing, every single conceivable line was just thrown in the cockpit. And I spent like 20 minutes just coiling the line. You know, it's so disturbing. So that happened too. Get the boat down there, back it into slip, and everybody's going, wow, that was excellent. I don't know how you did that. It's like, it's a boat. You just do that. One of the things, the throttle on the engine was, it didn't stay in one place. On a boat, it's not like an accelerator on a car. It's not supposed to be variable. You're supposed to be able to set it in one place and it stays there. Well, on this thing, not so much. It just, you either had to hang on to the throttle in one space or do what the previous owner did, which is to say, take one of those stiff line things that looks like a pipe cleaner, except it's strong, and wrap it around the throttle so that the throttle stays in one place. Well, that's all very well and good, except when you're trying to back up. You're going to want to try to shift from forward to neutral to reverse and apply throttle at the same time. It makes it extremely difficult to do that. But, figure it out, get it done, no big deal. It's like, it was an adventure. That was my Thursday, was doing that, which was, good enough adventure, I guess. So, I don't know. How many people are watching this effing thing? Does anybody want to come in? There are 10 watching. All right. Well, that's cool. That's nice. Yeah, cool. Anybody want to come in and chat? You're welcome. If you don't, then I'm probably going to say sayonara and go off and find, I don't even know what else is going on in the interwebs. Who can I send you off to? We could go off and watch Mark Reed dissect the debate between Matt Dillahunty and Bob? I don't know, Bob. It'd be really interesting to see a debate between Matt and God. That would be fun. That would be very fun. I think that's about all I saw that was going on live, at least in my feed, right at the moment. There's that. See what other exciting things are going on in YouTube land. There's this thing. Whole bunch of politics. Nothing really. I want to boost some stuff. What the Beck has his little What the Beck is the spooky stuff thing that's coming up tomorrow at the magical time of 4:20 p.m. in my time zone. That I don't imagine. Maybe Beck does know that it is 4:20 Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern Daylight Time, when he kicks off his streams, which is handy, really, actually. I think on the line tomorrow, the Sunday show, is Jimmy and Forrest, I think. Was it Jimmy and Forrest? No, it's Jimmy and Erica, I think, maybe. Let's see what's coming up on the line. That'll be fun. That show will probably go on for forever and ever. Because they're both quite loquacious. Sunday show. Oh no! It is actually what I'm seeing here right now is Jimmy and Skeptics and Scoundrels, our own Eric. Friend of the channel, he'll be on tomorrow. That's what it says, live in 17 hours. I'll be in the moderator, or the whatever. It's like, yeah, I'll be modding the chat. Hey, Nitty's here. All right, somebody else is lonesome and foolish on a Saturday night.
Hey. So you were talking about big ass boats, and yeah, I'm working on a big ass boat.
Oh yeah, what sort of? Ooh, so, look at that.
Yeah, so this is for my son. The set retail that this is supposed to be like is like $160, and so
yeah.
And so I was like, I have so many pieces. Let's see how far I can get. And I was able to build like about 70% of it without spending any money, which was kind of fun. But right now, I'm working on this mechanism here in the middle with the mast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's going to be like impossible to see on this camera. But the idea is that there's this gear running in the middle, right? And you can see that little tiny bit spinning. And what it's supposed to do is mimic the wind underneath these sails and kind of get them to flip up and down, right?
Yeah.
But there's a few problems with this model. One is that I'm unable to find the piece that accurately push it. Like, it's supposed to be like, God damn it. Hold on. Here we go. Like this, and it spins. But when it's like this, the wing sails are down. When it's like this, sails are up. I don't have the piece to do that. And so I'm trying to basically reverse engineer it a little bit so that we can do that. Or develop some kind of different gearing mechanism to like make that shit work. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to go with this. Right now, I don't like how this works. And I'm probably going to abandon all the work I put into this so far for this mast, because there's another problem where I've put all these like kind of connecty bits to support the gearing to do the whole flippy floppy sails, and it just won't like stay straight without a ridiculous amount of support. And I don't really want to do it like completely brick driven because it doesn't look as cool.
Mhm. I hear this. Well,
So
I can't see exactly
see, there we
how
go.
that works. There seems to be a large amount of missing equipment on said yacht.
Well, well, it's part magic, Steph. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
okay.
got rocket boosters in the back, for Christ's sake. It's supposed to fly, really, not be on water.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why the sails have to be up and down like flapping wings, right? It's like a
Oh,
dragon.
so this is a starcraft.
Skycraft. Think of it like a sky
Skycraft. Okay.
or a zeppelin. A zeppelin without the air on top. There's like another term for this. It's like in fantasy, but I it's escaping me at the moment. Airship, I guess, is probably. So at any rate, I've got to just figure out some shit to get this mechanism to work the way I want it. So yeah, I don't know. They do make like kind of slip joints. Yeah, Final Fantasy Airship. They make these kind of slip joints that if I put more or if I release some of the tension but to the joint, it'll allow it to go like this, which would bring the wing down. If I add tension, the slip joint will expand and push the wing out. I should just fucking do that.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have any to show you. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'll have to find it without showing you guys my ass too much.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, I'm not. I know I hope I have two of them to like do that because I think that would nail it. But they do make like rubber band type mechanisms, but I'm not quite sure how I would manage that. Ooh, I got my headphones here too. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other ways to like fake this without this. The other problem with it too is that like the mast in general on the original build is shaky. And so like you go to spin like the basic premise of what I'm trying to do of the gearing was already there, but only at the very top. And so you go to spin this thing to make the fucking wings flap, and it like wiggles around. The gearing's like crunchy. I'm like, who the fuck like signed off on this part? This sucks. You feel like you're gonna break the goddamn thing to do the thing that makes it look so fucking cool. So that's my life.
Yeah. I like your subtitle, Ninja Sailor. I think that's really cool. It's great.
Well, the whole thing of this boat or airship is like the ninjas in this Lego TV series. Like they just fly this thing, every season. Yeah. And my son is just loving these ninjas. Like he is building stuff for them, plays with them at night. We put him to bed at like 7:45. So he's a young lad, needs rest, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. He's fucking building. He's 4.5. And he's building like houses with Lego and putting his ninjas in them. And then we wake up in the morning and it's like, dude. He's like trying to figure out gears. This blew my mind. I was sitting building with him on the airship, and he's like, Daddy. I'm like, what? He's like, can I get a bin and just take up parts and bring them upstairs? I'm like, yeah, of course. My Legos are your Legos, my like spare parts, because I have an astronomical amount of those. And he starts building something, and I look over, and just by mostly chance, there's like a good combination of the same pieces. And so he's building something that's completely symmetrical, like piece by piece. He's like, oh, what fucking piece do I need to make this look exactly like the other side? Oh, what do I need to do that? What do I need to do? And I'm just like, my dude, this is like second grade shit, at least. Like to like mirror yourself, to build, like to architect. It looks like a little throne. And I'm like, dude, this is awesome. So he made me proud, and it was great. All right, I'm done bragging about Jace. He's fun.
Listen, this channel is for you to brag about your kid.
Cool.
We're down with that. Bring your.
He's always having me build ships for him and stuff, like airplanes and spaceships, and it makes my daughter a little jealous. She's like, "You're always making stuff for him." I'm like, "You wouldn't play with shit I'd make for you."
Yeah.
She's busy with Barbie. What do you do? We do have Kinects, actually. My neighbors gave me like a I don't know how many gallons, but it's like the size of a monitor, like an average computer monitor, and like, 8 or so inches deep, filled with Kinects. I'd say it's probably at least $100 worth of Kinects. And they're like, my kids grew out of this. Here you go. Okay. And my kids, Jace is getting old enough to connect the Kinects. And he like makes these weird like geometric things that like, it's not like anything, but he's like, Daddy, look at the thing I made. And I go over there, and it's like this like MC Escher picture of Kinects like put together. Like if I tried to like put panels on it, I'd like fall one direction and like but it's cool because he's like figuring out, okay, this goes in this hole, this is bent this way, and then he tries to bend it to make it work, and I'm like, damn, man. He was at the beginning of the summer, we got magnetiles, and he was all into that. He's making houses and trying to do. He has yet to figure out, like, there's like a packet of like magnetile challenges where you like make the picture like butterflies and like make a hexagon out of the squares and triangles and stuff. He hasn't figured out that those are in there, but I'm sure he could do it. So
well, once he figures that out, he can explain to Dr. Tapioca Weasel how magnetism works.
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be cool.
Oh, so my daughter, she's in first grade, and for like she doesn't get homework at her school, which cool. But to help her like get like she's not easily on curve, let's just say that. She's not really neurotypical. And so we do at home her like in school virtual classroom work kind of. It's like, an app that you go to on a website, and there's an app for the iPad. And she's doing like reading and math. And my son loves to sit through the math. And we're like, hey, Jace, what's 5 + 2? And he's like, 7. And we're like, you're going to be bored in kindergarten.
More than likely, yes.
We got this game today.
I had a fair command of language, but certainly not mathematics, which I never really developed the knack for until I found an actual reason to know.
Yeah, we got a game where you have these fly swatters, and there's numbers on bugs, and you roll these dice that are like a number, plus or minus sign, and another number, And he was doing just as good as my daughter was until they got tired and were like, "Yeah, fuck this."
Yeah, it's not fun
We went
anymore.
we went to the Melt today. You ever been to the Melt?
No.
It's this place where you ask for heart disease and they bring it back to you on a plate. No,
Okay. Yeah.
no, it's
And
famous for the sandwiches being baseline grilled cheese, and then they stuff a bunch of shit in it, right? So this is grilled cheese with hamburger, bacon, pickles, and a foot. Like, they just find something in the kitchen, they shove that shit in there. And then they name it something like, this is the Dracula burger. This is the Al Trucker burger. This is the Nine Inch
Nice.
Nails burger. This is the or
yeah, we
the
could get Al Trucker to come in here and talk about motorway food. That'd be fun. That'd be an interesting tangent to go off on.
They put it on Texas toast. They do grilled cheese, and my son got the kids cheeseburger, and like you could feed an adult with that thing easy. It was a 4-ounce burger. He ate half of it, and he ordered a salad with it. Like, it's his choice. We're like, hey, do you want fries? No. Do you want applesauce? No. Do you want bar chips? No. Do you want salad? Yeah. Give me a salad.
There you go.
But he drank the ranch, so I negated the whole effort of having your greens. He just would take a piece of lettuce, dip. My wife's like, how can someone eat this much ranch? I'm like, he's 4.
But that is not how Katie Montgomery would pronounce ranch. I mean ranch.
Really?
She
says ranch dressing?
Ranch dressing, yes.
That's amazing.
But since it is principally made of slime, aka mayonnaise, you wouldn't expect her to eat ranch because she thinks it's raunchy.
So what you're telling me is that I need to watch Takis and Super Chat. Make me a raunchy ranch sandwich, please, Katie.
Yes. Yeah, it's Ben and Katie go on about English pronunciation versus American pronunciation. So the two things are ranch or ranch dressing and saucepan as opposed to saucepan.
Oh, are you gonna cook that in a saucepan? That makes sense. I don't know why I say saucepan. Like, I get it.
Saucepan.
It doesn't.
Well, that goes back to the divisions. There's some divisions in American English. Like, people will say aunt. Like, I don't know whether Aunt Jur prefers to be called Aunt Jur or Aunt Jur. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
My upbringing would have it be aunt, but I'm from New England. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess I'm middle of the road Midwesterner for the most part. But I do say aunt. And now you got me rethinking my life, talking to my kids. If I start saying aunt now, they're just gonna look at me like, why'd you what the hell's that word? What are you doing?
No.
Because they can't spell quite. I mean, all right, they can spell, but not, what's the word? Irregular, like verb conjugates and stuff. No, vowel. Jesus Christ. You were probably like,
parts of speech, man. Parts of speech. You gotta watch out. People are getting all twisted out of shape about parts of speech. It's like, what?
What's a pronoun?
I don't care about pronouns. No. Well, what's that I doing in your sentence?
You do care now.
Apparently you care enough. It's pretty funny. It's like, of all the things in the world to get distressed over, it's what? Oh.
Well, back to the
Try to be
melt.
nice.
My wife
Try
and
that.
I have.
No, just try being
Yeah.
nice for a change. It's like somebody wants to call me late for dinner. It's fine.
No, I don't want to talk about the melt. Oh, the melt, and it can take forever. So we play family games sometimes,
Okay.
and we have this.
So I take it the
we have-
melt is a food service establishment of some nature.
Oh yeah. It's
Okay.
a restaurant chain. I think it's particular to the Midwest too, like especially northern Midwest. I mean, cheese and bread. Ooh. Maybe they have it more places. I don't know. There was one on Ohio State campus, but it's not. I don't think it's there anymore. It's been taken over by the like hipster bar kind of gentrification section of the short north, which was like the gayest part. Not like in a derogatory sense. I mean, that part of town is gay, like no messing around. Couple
that's
gay.
fine.
It's like, yeah, it's like a high concentration of non-hetero clubs, and like really in like most all of the city. I guess that's how it goes. There's like one or two in like the north-ish part of the town, but that's it.
Hey, I just noticed this thing in StreamYard. It'll actually tell you on in StreamYard how many people are watching this thing.
Oh, cool. Oh yeah, I'm a guest. I can't see that.
That's pretty. I never noticed that. Oh, now we're up to 12. Holy smokes!
Woo!
Woohoo!
Anyway, we play family games, and there's this game called Best Worst Ice Cream. And it's like a guessing game where you have a stack of these little cards, and there's like a scoop of eyeballs, a scoop of worms, and a scoop of pizza on the back. And you have to guess which scoop it is. And if you guess right, you add it to your ice cream cone. So the flavors are hot dog, which looks like a red puppy, snail, worms, eyeballs, and pizza. It's great. It's like the cutest, and it's actually fun. And whoever fills up their ice cream cone first wins. Oh, if you guess wrong, they go into like a center pool for each type. But then as soon as you guess that one right, you take all the scoops that are in the middle. So like all of a sudden someone can just win. They're like, it's eyeballs. Holy shit, you got 5 scoops of eyeball. Like
this has got me thinking. I'm gonna have to do a poll here somehow or another. I have to do darn it. I did the wrong thing. How do you do a poll? Let's see. How do you create a poll?
From StreamYard? I don't know. But from YouTube, it's not hard.
Well, that's what I mean. All right. In YouTube, how do you do a poll?
Hang on a second. I'm trying to see.
Create a poll. How do I create a poll? Fucking YouTube.
All right. Let me go over there. It should be.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Start Q&A. Start a poll. Yay! I found it. All right. Ice cream cones.
Yeah.
All right. So the question is, ice cream cone style, cake cone or sugar cone? That's my question.
I'm cake all the way.
Okay.
Like that, or sorry, no. Is that the same as waffle cone?
A sugar cone is it's more solid, and a cake
Yeah,
cone
yeah,
has
yeah.
puffy air in it.
Puffy. Oh, what? Hang on.
Sugar cones are usually brown with waffly edges, and they
Oh,
both
well,
have
I'm thinking
waffly
of like,
edges.
I guess like I'm thinking of the big ones, like
Yeah,
that
the
are
big
like a
wide one,
waffle
that's a cake
bowl.
cone. Yeah, so we call a cake cone.
See,
Us up
now I'm
here
so
in New
confused.
England.
Because I go to Jenny's Ice Cream and they got these big fucking they just call it waffle cone, and then they've got uh cake cone, and then sugar. Okay, so yeah, cake cone is like the brittly, thing that they throw soft serve in at McDonald's, right? Or is it the opposite for you?
I don't know. We're gonna need to go to images here pretty soon, because this is
Here, I got this link.
what you got.
I'll put it in the private chat.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so that's
yeah.
why I was confused because sugar cones um have waffle-ish pattern, but to me they're definitely not the waffle cone itself.
All right, here we go. So we're gonna have to go. Okay.
Because I'm like,
So unlike
waffle
the sugar
cone,
or
sugar
cake
cone,
cones, the
cake.
waffle cone is built to handle even the most decadent of toppings. Oh, fuck, for Christ's sake. Here we go. All right. Let's see. We gotta.
What a fun debate for a stream, eh? This is the shit that really matters, guys,
We
is
gotta get this
how you take your ice cream.
right. This is from a site called Joy, which apparently sells them by the boxes of 200 in a box. So in case you really need to know, this is a sugar cone.
Okay, yeah.
Right there, that's a sugar cone.
I completely agree.
This, see, there's, as you can see, the beautiful presentation here. We've got there's obviously, it looks like chocolate ice cream in there. And now we have your cake cone. That's your cake cone there.
Yeah, that's the shit they use at McDonald's.
Yeah.
They're like, the ice cream machine's broken. It's like, quit lying, bitch.
Yeah.
You just don't want to put the cake cone out.
So, yeah, well, it looks like that you're 12 in a box. $25.49 for your cake cone, and what do we get for your sugar cone? Your sugar cone is $25.49 for it's 200 in a box.
Well, that's the waffle cone. No, wait. God damn it.
No, it says right here, sugary ice cream cone. It's that sandwich
it's
right
the
there.
zoom that's fucking me up. And then they got waffle bowls.
It's got a waffle impression on the confection, but there's your gluten-free cake cone. That looks like styrofoam to me. That's
Oh, they are.
That seems
like, I don't understand how kids put up with that shit.
Yeah.
But they do. After a while, if you let the ice cream get pretty melty, it's like manageable. It's like it's like how cereal starts out instead of dry ass, basically like licking dry sugar, stale sugar. But yeah, it turns into what cereal is at the start, and it can get to soggy cereal if you wait long enough, but you definitely don't want to do that.
So far, sugar cones are making a large impact. in this chat here of however many people are watching this fucking thing, 10 people watching
Sandals.
it,
I wonder if people who voted cake cone got them mixed up, or maybe I'm brainwashed by sugar cone propaganda.
I know, right?
Totally.
Oh.
I wish I had ice cream at my house. We're currently lacking, and part of it's because I eat like half the box before the kids get to it.
Hunter Biden's laptops is going. I was actually mistaking cake cones are the way to go. I mean, I was willing to let it just sort of sit on the Mandalorian. Cake cones are the way. But
Jay, what's wrong with you, man?
I'm going with a sugar cone myself. I just
too.
gotta go with a sugar cone. It's just that crispiness, because it gets soggy as you know, especially if you get you know, a fairly, if you go for your large, like 2 scoops. If you're like Don Trump and you go with the Donnie 2 scoops, then
at least
I think that Donnie 2 scoops probably goes with the cake cone, because I think he's a fucking he likes that mess after the whole thing starts to melt, because then it just sort of everything disintegrates.
I like when the sugar cone has like ice cream at the bottom of the inverted pyramid, you know, and you bite a hole in it.
That's the stuff I like. That's what I like. You get it down, the whole thing migrates to the bottom of the cone, so you're always got the ice cream there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's saving it for later, which is not long from now, but
anyway.
What's your opinion of like people who like competition eaters?
I think that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
what about
make a competition out of anything, but people that do hot dog eating contests and stuff, it's like good Coney Island hot dog eating contests. People can eat a prodigious amount of hot dogs. It's like, I don't know, man. And they're not fat, you know. It's like, how do you do this?
Yeah. Well, how
do you do this?
Like the physically fit ones that do it. Well, one thing they do is they fast before, and well, they don't really do before, but afterwards, because they put 3 days of fucking calories in their body, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And they like the first day they basically like kind of water fruit fast, and then like the next day they get exercise and like eat a little bit. And then they go back to normal, like after the second or third day of that. And then they, eat normal for like a week or 2, 3 weeks, however long between their next food thing. My kids and I, well, the reason I ask is because my kids are really into watching a competition eater on YouTube who actually beat Joey Chestnut at the hot dog thing, which is like a big fucking deal, I guess. And he does like ridiculous things like, let's eat 10 boxes of Reese Puffs, let's see how far we can get through like Happy Meals, McDonald's Happy Meals. What he did, like something like 200 peeps for Easter or something, like some ridiculous amount of peeps, and my kids just love it. And then they go, when they're like trying to finish dinner because they like it so much, or we make them something, they're like, I'm gonna Matt Stoney this. And we're like, stop, don't do that. I'm afraid they're gonna do that with their fucking Halloween candy.
Strange.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's just a little bit strange. There was a hot pepper eating contest that was on a Gordon Ramsay thing that I saw on some YouTube channel. Whatever. So it's Gordon Ramsay's stuff, and it was during his tour of India, and he stopped by someplace, and there was a hot pepper eating contest. It's like, no, please, no, you're going to hurt yourself. You are going to hurt yourself.
That's my kind of
don't do it. Don't do it. But it's like, okay. And I am told, I do not know, but I am told that Aaron Ra can do that thing.
Oh yeah, totally. I believe it.
Major league stupid hot peppers.
And afterward, he'd like just chase it with like some kind of porter or stout that's like high ABV.
Yeah, a nice stout, nice strong stout or something like that.
Because that'll basically like it'll be like chocolate milk on it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite thing to drink is like dessert stouts and bourbon, but I haven't drank in like 6.5 months now, actually. Good for me.
I've tapered off a lot.
Yeah.
That was the other thing about this yachting adventure. Is like, oh, well, let's go out and have a good... And it's like, okay, I guess I really am alone in this. I am alone in the boat because nobody's going to be able to follow.
Oh, yeah. You have to DD the boat. Designated sailor. There you go. You're the designated sailor. You can't.
You know, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was... But aside from the sheer ignorance, it's like I just don't need to have the alcohol was involved thing going on. It's like, I don't need the harbor master to come over. Hey, you guys, where's the life jacket? Where's this? Where's that? It's like, no, everybody be cool, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so with like seafaring and alcohol, have you seen the movie The Lighthouse?
I have
with
not.
Like Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson or whatever. It's weird. It's a weird movie, and they end up drinking like they drink and drink and drink while they're stuck on this lighthouse island, and they run out of alcohol, so they end up drinking whatever fluid, ethanol fluid, they're using to light the lighthouse.
Okay.
And they obviously go crazy by the end.
Something tells me that's not good for the system.
Nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Willem Dafoe is like what is he not amazing in? Like seriously.
Truth.
With his giant dick.
What? Oh yeah. Wait a minute.
He has a giant.
Oh yeah,
dick,
we can go back to the Tim Ballard story. Did you catch any of that, Nitty? Have you seen any of that crap?
Yeah.
Isn't that gross?
Man. You know what sucks even more is like I know like some of my in-laws and this guy I was friends with in my old church, like they probably ate that fucking movie up. They like, oh yeah, Sound of Freedom, save the girls. Oh yeah, it's terrible. We got to get something about that going on. And then like, dude, these are just a bunch of motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we're up against, man. This is what we're up against. This is what we see time after time. You know, these people have huge followings, huge stuff, and it's all bullshit, and it's based on some bullshit. The foundations of it are crap, and it's all smoke and mirrors.
Fucking sucks.
It's more fun being silly, though.
True. So that's what's going on in the Nittyverse, I guess. Goofing around my family, trying to fix this fucking airship. Somehow my plunger got destroyed. Like I I was the one who used it to plunge like a week and a half ago because my daughter takes a shit and then like fills the fucking bowl to the brim with toilet paper and is like, "Oh, Daddy, the toilet's clogged." Well, I can't imagine why.
That's always a fun game.
So I
That's
go to
always
use
a
the
very fun
plunger
game.
and like somehow like, and I successfully plunged the last time I used it. So I'm like, this thing fucking works. It's not a big deal. So I go to pick it up. It's destroyed. Like the all around the, non-plungy part, it's like cracked. And like I went to plunge with it. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? And the stick is like going right through the rubber part into the toilet. And I'm like, how the fuck did this happen? Like,
Nitty,
was the last time I
need a
plunged?
new plunger. You need a new plunger. You got to break down.
I feel like my daughter, when she shit last time, there must have been sulfuric acid in it. And so after I plunged it and left it on the fucking floor, the sulfuric acid burned through the fucking rubber. And then I go to
by all means, somebody clip that. Daddy, when she shit last time, somebody needs to clip that. Oh yeah, this is great for the algorithm right there.
I have no other explanation for it though, because it worked perfectly last time I used it, and then I picked the fucker up today, and it's just destroyed. And I don't know, man.
I don't know either. Well, it seems like we're approaching the we're past the 145 mark. If we can string this out to 2 hours, we can do it. We probably come up with some other. We can come up with some other less scatological discussion.
Did you watch Zidanza, Prophet Azad, and Objectively Dan's thing?
No, I didn't. Was it good?
It was all right. They covered I think there's been like atheist skeptics were shitting on Paul and Morgan for a while, and Zod and Objectively Dan finally got around to it. I can just say that they probably didn't know, because I'm subscribed to an absurd amount of critical theist stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so they're watching this thing about Paul and Morgan's marriage and sex before marriage. And like Morgan, I guess, like was not a virgin when she married Paul. And there's like so much passive aggression in the whole thing. And like,
yeah, that's always a good feature of Paul and Morgan's channel, because she's just sort of sitting there and going, yeah, well.
And he's like, well, I know it's best. Anyway, they divulged that Morgan had to ask for Paul's forgiveness for sleeping with someone before they got married. And there's one point,
and
I don't know if you saw this, but there was one point where Dan,
no, not just one, two,
right, where Dan mentioned that he had been on he had helped host other call-in shows, and like it basically went down the trail of Dan asking for Zod's forgiveness for having someone else for.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I was on an ACA show. I'm so sorry.
So on my channel,
what the fuck?
You should screen this. It's just a minute. Go to my channel. I clipped it, and then I put it to like TV dramatic.
Send me a
music.
link. I'll put it up.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
and I think they said during the show, like, someone's gonna clip this, and I'm like, hey, it's gonna be me, because I ain't got nothing better to do. I put it in the private chat.
Okay, let's see what we got here. If this is on Nitty's channel here. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait just a second.
It's a little harder to hear Dan, but I did my best. Zod's mic is
just stop. God, I hate it when it's like you click on a thing and it immediately starts going.
Oh yeah, auto plays a bitch.
It's just annoying. Dan confesses to Zod. I like it.
So this is the context, Al.
All right, here we go.
You gotta turn the audio on.
I didn't turn the audio. Oh, I don't have the audio
I
on.
guess
See,
we
so
haven't-
it's all this shit.
Restart.
Wait, you've been with other shows?
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I guess we haven't. We gotta talk about. Hang on, Zod. Hang on.
Yeah.
Zod. I'm asking you. Okay, you're not telling me that I need to do this, but I'm asking you out of my own choice that I have been on other shows before I've been on today's, and you're not my first co-host on a live stream, and I'm really sorry about that. So, I gotta ask God, and I gotta ask you as my co-host whether we can keep doing this. What do you think?
You know, for many shows, this would end the whole production and probably result in a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And I can't keep this up.
Well, man, I was like trying to get.
I choose to forgive you.
You choose to forgive
Like
me.
I'm a big enough person that this massive transgression doesn't need to affect me. It might affect other people. If you were to do this to almost anybody else, it would be devastating.
Yeah, that's special. That's very special.
I love when
Very
the strings
special.
come in. It's just like perfect.
Yeah, that's super special.
I
like
don't
it.
want to talk about how long it took me to find royalty-free music that could actually fit that.
Yeah, well,
Turns
you did-
out-
that was excellent. The it adds that certain tone.
Mm-hmm. Turns
Yeah,
out when you
censored.
search daytime soap opera royalty-free, nothing.
Mm.
Like, I wish maybe I was actually hoping to find like daytime Spanish television drama music, right? Like Maria. It's because he walked in on like his wife sleeping with someone or something. Por qué?
Ah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a Comedy Central bit about that from like some stand-up comic, and it's actually hilarious.
You know,
But yeah,
back in the
couldn't
back in the
find it.
70s, there were all these crazy advice books as to how to please your man, and the whole thing is focused on being sure that you're always at home when he gets home from work. You're always there, and you should meet him at the door in something special, like Saran wrap. It's like. It's what? It's just such unbelievable crap. And you know, it seems like those guys like are stuck in that mindset. Paul and Morgan stuck in the 70s.
Yeah, it's pretty fuckety.
Stuck in the
Those are- I don't
patriarchy.
like it. Yep. I was sub to them for a while, and I think I trolled their chat for a little bit. But then they either blocked me or I got bored with it because I'm like, these fuckers are crazy. Like the people in their chat, like eating the shit up and throwing money at their feet. It's just like, I can't. I feel like I'm supporting it too much by, being here to, heckle. I felt guilty. I felt dirty. Like I need a shower because it's so gross.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. You know, it's like I don't know. Shows like that are basically I think they exist to let people feel comfortable with their lot in life more than
Yeah.
anything. You know, not well. This is the way things are, and it's not going to do me any good to challenge it, because if I challenge it, then the whole house of cards comes crashing down. It's
Well,
just, I don't know.
I think at least for YouTube though, there's like this pseudo parasocial thing going on though, right? Because I get to chat while they're talking to me, right? Some creators read the super chat, so it's like, ooh, like, you know, that I got to communicate something through them. You know what I mean? And or it's
Mm-hmm.
like this subtle or not so subtle, like they're living a blessed life, and I get to see how intimate and interesting their blessed life is. It's like, whoa! You know, it's a whole bunch of different things why people watch that. But nothing grosses me out more though than super chats flying in for like Pints with Aquinas or Standing for Truth. I'm like, look, these Catholic motherfuckers, they have all your money already. Stop it. And Standing for Truth, don't give a con man more fucking money. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I just want to shake
I mean,
all of YouTube when I see that shit.
yeah, it's like gets into the giving them oxygen argument too. You know, it's like, why are we even talking to these people? It's just giving them oxygen. It's like,
well, we don't really.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're chats, right? Just to eat, to be a voyeur of whatever they're talking about. It's just like, you're a disgrace to an Ohioan, Matt Frad. Yeah. I actually live like 45 minutes from Matt Frad and like an hour or so from Cameron Bertuzzi.
Yeah. I'm sure there are plenty of fundies around here I probably live close to. I don't know any famous fundies from Maine. But they're here. No question that they're here. They're everywhere. But yeah, it's fun to listen and point and stuff, but when you go on their channels, it's maybe it's weird the way YouTube works. Like YouTube thrives on controversy. And
yeah, I think I just couldn't take it anymore when they just kept talking about gender stuff over and over and over. I'm like, you fucks. And I'm just like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah. Well, on that cheery note, I think I'm going to wrap it up. We're coming up on 2 hours. I want to thank everybody for coming here. One thing, who was that guy? Shannon Q did a thing on
Emerson Green.
Emerson Green, and it's really good. It really is. It's worth watching. It's like a little over an hour. And it's interesting. It's really interesting, talking about dualism and panpsychism and how does that all work. And it's an interesting philosophical discussion if you like that sort of thing. And Shannon's great at it, and this guy's obviously knows the philosophical stuff.
Oh man,
it ain't me, babe, but it was interesting to listen to.
Yeah, he did a really good video on hell too. That's like almost 2 years old at least. But I stumbled on him through his response videos, kind of. The algorithm was like, oh, you like response videos? Well, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think Digital Gnosis too was like another way I got recommended that.
Yeah.
But yeah, are we going to bounce over to Mark Reed's? And
Oh, we could do that. Is Mark got something going on? I mean, we can do
yeah,
that.
he's reviewing that debate still.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, it's fun, I guess. But nothing else to do on a Saturday night. What the hell?
Yeah.
Neil's
I
not
mean,
on.
I have flirted with the idea of like doing like a hey, Nitty's gonna read the Bible and rethink about it, like in like just a different way, right? Than just like or and like kind of re-expose like how I read stuff as a Christian. Because I haven't done that in a while.
Yep.
This is how my heretical ass figured this out. No. Yeah. And there's also I'll get out of here in a minute. There's a podcast that's like about cults and stuff. It's called Let's Talk About Sects. So and they're I think last week and I think it's gonna be this week. They're covering my former church. And I was thinking about reviewing segments of that as well and pointing people to go over to that podcast. The biggest gripe I had listening to it though is that it didn't make it easy to pause, rewind, or whatever. So I think I'm gonna have to use my web developer skills to like fucking steal it and
to take it apart. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey,
Yeah,
it shouldn't be too bad.
Sounds like production. But yeah, probably worth it.
It's not too bad. I mean, that's how I used to get like other music. I knew how to like goof around with like the source code, check the network tab for what's being downloaded, and then you find the URL to where it got it from, and then you paste that in your browser window, and ta-da, you have the song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably going to be
this
week that they air the second half. But anyway,
thanks for jumping in, Nitty. That was it was fun. Thanks everybody.
I had to show a sailor my airship.
Well, I'm glad you did because that was fun, and maybe we can pursue it later in greater depth and detail. Figure out some way of creating
that would be great.
A mast that works. But thanks for jumping in, Ninja Sailor. That was Ninja Sailor. Nitty's channel is out there, and I'm in here, and y'all are around. There's some great folks that stop by in the chat. Al Trucker is putting out content these days. His channel's great. Jay Hunter Biden's Laptops has been in the chat. Fantastic. Pragmatic Crystal, fantastic. All sorts of really cool people that hang out here every now and again, and I really appreciate everybody who does. And I'll try to think of something else to talk about some other time. But for the moment, let's go see Mark Reed take Matt Dillahunty and Bob apart. Good night, everybody.